Start your computations.
Bonjour et bienvenue dans une nouvelle plan with me. Je m'appelle Emily and I am sorry if that was just an obnoxious flex, but one of my majors in university is in fact French. So, I just gotta whip it out every now and then. Gotta get my money's worth, right? But anyway, the point of me flexing was to introduce to you my theme for December 2020, which is a Parisian cafe. Kind of modeled after the Pinterest Parisian aesthetic. So that should explain to you why I am currently sketching out a table with some very French looking snacks. So there is a cafe, a coffee, and there is also Americans call it a chocolate croissant, but really it's a pain au chocolat or a chocolatine depending on where you are from in France. And then right next to it I added some strawberries so that we can get some fiber. But what really makes this Parisian is the buildings in the background with their iconic architecture. Honestly, that's gotta be my favorite part of Paris. There's going to be a lot of sketching and playing around with doodles. I'd say that this is probably one of my more artistic spreads because I had just finished finals. I was feeling super relaxed, so I just let myself take some extra time and I got into the flow state a couple times, so it felt really good making it, and I hope it feels really good watching it too. I knew that this spread would take a lot longer and that it'd be a lot more complicated, but it's December and I want to go out with a bang, especially because I am not going to be using a bullet journal next year, and I'll talk more about that in a different video, but ultimately I wanted to make sure that my last spread for a while would be a good one. Other than my Pinterest board, there's a number of reasons why I wanted to do this theme. If the pandemic had not happened, I actually would have been studying abroad in Paris this semester. So in some ways this spread is an homage to that. I'm also a massive fan of Damon Dominique and Nathaniel Drew. They are Americans living in Paris, but they're not doing it quite the same way that Emily in Paris is doing it. This is a whole nother story, but I was really disappointed by Emily in Paris, and in some ways it's my fault because I should not have expected so much from it. I was expecting that this American comedy drama would somehow teach me about life in Paris or French culture, and clearly that was not the case. It definitely prioritizes the drama and comedy aspect of it much more than cultural accuracy in any sort of way. I guess I'm just afraid of coming off as another raging American Francophile because my interest in French language and culture, and as a proxy this spread, come from a completely different place. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily if people come to love the language and the culture after they've seen movies of it or they've romanticized it or whatnot. I just want to highlight that it's meaningful to me for a different reason. I chose French as a language in high school because I needed to satisfy a language requirement, and it was never part of the plan for me to fall in love with it, to have an amazing teacher who really nurtured my language learning abilities and made me into the polyglot that I am today. I'd say that the experiences that I've had through studying abroad in France and through learning language and being able to communicate with people in their mother tongue, they've just given me such a different perspective on life. And that just makes French really special to me because through learning the language, I broadened my perspective in so many unexpected ways, and it led me to loving learning languages as I do today. I also just want to jump in and add that I'm using a restricted palette in this spread. So I guess I kind of use a restrictive palette in every single spread that I do, but I did it more mindfully this time, okay? So it felt different. I am by no means an expert in color theory, but basically I just imagined that all the other colors were sapped from the world, save these few colors that I was using, and I colored in everything as much as I could. So in some ways that limits you because you don't have every single color, but in other ways that frees you to color in like strawberries in a pinky orange color instead of red. Okay, so I lettered in the letters and now this is done. Alright, so for my next spread, we are listing out priorities here. Also, apologies for the messy workspace. I really tried to corral things better with the glass jar, but as you can see, I'm just being an absolute rascal here and just littering things all around. It's part of the artistic process, but it's driving me crazy right now. So you win some, you lose some. I decided that I would keep up this kind of cafe theme by drawing some baked goods and also this tasse de thé, a teacup. Sorry, the pretentious just keeps jumping out of me. Okay, I'm sorry. So currently we have a croissant and we have a teacup, or it could be coffee, you never know. And I'm gonna write down some of my top priorities. My university decided to shorten the semester and end everything before Thanksgiving, so that means the entire month of December I am going to be on break, which is, it sounds so fun, but also I feel like I need to put some sort of discipline into my life. So that's kind of where this priorities page comes into play, hopefully. I'm hoping that I'll refer back to this page and remember what I'm trying to accomplish, and to remember that I have a bunch of goals that I'm trying to work on. I really wish that I could just relax more and, unclench my butthole a little more. But I don't know, I just feel like if I let myself relax, I'll just keep on letting things go further and further until I do nothing, and then I'm just a useless member of society. I don't know how this turned into my therapy session, but I'm just gonna go back to talking about how I'm coloring in these baguettes and stuff. Oh, and also there's a beret. Anyway, I moved on to doing my monthly calendar spread. Wow, it looks so satisfying when I can see it go so fast, but in reality it just took me forever to line up the ruler and make sure that I was drawing through the right dots. And then I'm drawing these aesthetic blob things. I truly don't know what to actually call them. I've been calling them aesthetic blobs and so far nobody has corrected me, but please, if you know the name of these paint swatch color splotch things, I don't know, just let me know down below. I really had fun doing this in some crazy colors, because usually I just do it in straight up black or brown pen and it's really boring, but this time I was I'm gonna change it up because I'm not gonna be able to do it anymore for 12 months. Anyway, let's move on to my YouTube planning space. I decided that instead of just having all of this collect in my brain dump page, I was going to write out more concrete sections. So each of these has their own little pastry with them. There's a madeleine with the YouTube planning space, and there's another croissant with the Instagram planning space. And then I just played around with colors, which was super fun. Watching me draw these honestly makes me want to bake them so much. Anyway, getting back to explaining, I'm also leaving a little space for UI UX design, and also I drew a little beret and a macaron. UI UX design is kind of the career path I'm shooting for at the moment, and I'm allotting myself a pretty massive space for this because I'm pretty much gonna be self-teaching myself a lot of things, and I want to make sure that it's well thought out. Oh, and then I'm just going back and adding in some more secondary priorities that I just thought about. And then I'm gonna add some more things into my Instagram planning space just to get me started. You know the deal. It's time for another brain dump page. In case the last two pages weren't enough, which they definitely won't be because they're limited categories, I have this brain dump page as well. And along with it, I am drawing une religieuse. I honestly don't know how well I'm doing with all of these French pronunciations, so if you've got any tips for me, please do leave them down below. It would help me out a lot. But moving on, we're starting with our first weekly spread of December, and I just lettered this in. I also made sure to put what week of break it is so that I can stay on my toes, you know, like it's the Nutcracker or something. Because, you know, Nutcracker and Christmas, okay, whatever. Decided that I would continue the pastry theme and draw some more pain au chocolat / chocolatine. And then I contemplated drawing a pastry for every day of the week, but then I felt like that would be too much work and I didn't feel like doing any more work, so then I resolved instead to draw some berets. I really hope this isn't just awfully cliche. I just really tried to avoid stereotypes. Please tell me I didn't do too poorly. I'm thinking that for each weekly spread, I'll do a different pastry. So for this week, it'll be pain au chocolat, and then next week, I'll just figure it out then. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what I decide to do and how it turns out. Honestly, these doodles aren't too hard to draw, but they feel super rewarding to look back on. So if you want to give it a whirl, I definitely recommend. And I guess that's it, guys. Last plan with me for 2020 is now fini. Definitely let me know what you thought of this spread. I love hearing your guys' feedback. If you speak fluent French, let me know how my pronunciation is. Also, if you have any recommendations for new wave or nouvelle vague cinema, definitely let me know. I'm trying to get into French cinema and I'd love to hear you guys' recommendations. Alright, thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon.